My brother thinks that lying in the sun without sunblock is just going to give him a golden tan. But what else does my brother get by sitting in the sun during this time of day? Ultraviolet radiation. What is ultraviolet radiation? Ultraviolet radiation are electromagnetic radiations with wavelengths from 400 to 100, shorter than that of visible light but longer than X-rays. Ultraviolet means beyond light or black light. UV rays affect people in both negative and positive ways. People and things are exposed to UV radiation through sunlight and recreation industry sources such as tanning beds, blacklights, and mercury vapor lamps. There are 3 different types of UV radiation: UVA, UVB, and UVC. UV rays are classified according to their wavelength on the electromagnetic spectrum. UV rays have wavelengths shorter than visible light, which make it invisible to see from the naked eye. UVC rays have shorter rays and are absorbed by the ozone and do not touch the earth. UVA and UVB infiltrate the atmosphere and are the most common forms of UV radiation, leading to premature aging and skin cancer. There are many factors that influence the UV level. The first one is sun height. The higher the sun is in the sky, the higher the UV radiation. The UV radiations from the sun are strongest during 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. during midday, with cloudless skies. Clouds in the sky protect some of the UV radiation from us, but even with cloud cover, the levels of UV can be high because of the scattering of water molecules and particles in the air. Nearer to the equator, the higher the UV radiations as well, because the sun is nearest to that part of the earth. The altitude and the ozone are also factors of UV radiation levels. At higher altitudes, a thinner atmosphere filters less UV radiation, and with the ozone absorbs some of the UV radiation that would usually reach the Earth's surface. Ground reflection is also common because UV radiation is being scattered to varying extents by different surfaces. UV radiation creates positive and negative health effects. The positive factor of UV radiation is vitamin D. Ultraviolet radiation is the formation of bone-strengthening vitamin D in most land vertebrates, such as humans. Your body has vitamin D to absorb calcium and promote bone growth. UV radiation is also used to treat different diseases such as rickets, psoriasis, jaundice, and eczema. But as you are exposed to UV radiation more and more, it gives you higher risk of acute and chronic health effects on the skin, eye, and immune system. Cataracts, skin cancer, sunburn, and photoaging all evolve from the UV radiation given to us. Cataracts are a medical condition in which the lens of the eye becomes more and more opaque, resulting in blurred or no vision. The best known effect of excessive UV radiation exposure is sunburn. Ultraviolet damage causes free radical production and oxidative stress, which causes DNA damage. This then causes a cascade of different tiers of chemical and cellular mediators of inflammation and damage. Inflammation is a redness, swelling, and sensation of discomfort that you get with a sunburn. The skin peeling after several days after your initial burn are due to the induces cell death and the concomitant inflammation. UV radiation also produces regressive changes in the skin cells, fibrous tissue, and blood cells, which lead to photoaging. Photoaging is when skin over time ages and loses its youthful appearance, forming wrinkles, fine lines, and sun-age spots. The UV radiation damages the collagen found in the dermis, which causes the increased production of abnormal elastin, which result in melanoproteinases, which are enzymes that causes the skin to rebuild incorrectly, giving your skin wrinkles. Skin cancer occurs when the UV rays create mutated or damaged cells, where they begin to divide and invade other areas, forcing out the healthy tissues and cells. Basal and squamous are the most common and less dangerous forms of skin cancer. Basal cells are at the bottom of the epidermis, and squamous cells comprise of the most upper layers of the skin. In basal and squamous skin cancer, the gene suspected of mutation is the p53 gene. The p53 gene usually fights against cancerous tumors, inhibiting the division of cells that have been damaged. If the cells are not repaired, the p53 gene will commit cell suicide. If the p53 gene is mutated, then it will stop the damaged cell from committing suicide and will let it divide normally. The damaged cells then begin to take place of the healthy cells, and cancer is then present. Melanoma is the most serious form of skin cancer and develops from the malignant tumors that originate in melanocytes. the cells which produce the pigment that colors our skin. It's a common misconception that people who are more fair-skinned need to be more aware of their exposure to the sun rather than darker-skinned people. Although darker-skinned people do have more protective melanin pigments and they aren't as much as a high risk to skin cancer still does occur in darker-skinned people. Skin cancer that does occur in darker-skinned people is more dangerous because it's later found at a later stage. To prevent any sun damage happening to us in our skin, always wear sunblock that has at least SPF 15. Wear protective gear that blocks out UV rays, such as your sunglasses or your shirts. Try to limit your time in the midday sun from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and never ever tan without sunblock, or just don't tan in general, and never use tanning beds or mercury lamps, and try to avoid black lights.